無限大な夢の後の何もない世の中じゃそうはさ愛しい思いも負けそうになるけど静しかしないイメージだらけ
Hello everyone and welcome to LostinTranslationmon, Volume 8 of LostinTranslationmon. This time we're going to be covering Volume 8 of v-tamer. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
So we'll just dive into the synopsis. First of all, in Chapter 46, Taichi and Zero have arrived at Demon's Castle, which for some reason I find it really interesting that they're still calling it Demon's Castle, even though he's kind of
Demon's
like...
been dead for a while.
But to be fair, it is actually his castle, and Demon was the big bad.
Also, does Taichi know that Demon's dead?
I think Neo might have, laughed about it, oh no, he wasn't there.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
so, I don't know if he knows that Demon's dead, which would explain the
omake?
The omake at the end.
And so they're going to fight Arcadimon. And Neo has locked everyone away, so that's e.g. Mari and Sigma.
The alias 2 of 3.
And he decides to do a Danganronpa by saying because he wants to make them feel true despair.
Oh boy, it's just the most Danganronpa thing ever. Hope and Despair is literally the name of the second chapter.
Yeah, and I was just like, well, I just finished the anime for Danganronpa 3, so I'm just kind of in a Danganronpa mood, so this was very Danganronpa.
This despair will be a wonderful stepping stone for hope, and then hope will overcome despair. Komaeda's crap.
Neo is just Nagato Komaeda, right?
Pretty much, he's got the white hair.
Yeah. Taichi asks Neo about why he wants to control the Digimon world. And he says, look, you've just trampled over everyone. You've trampled over Digimon. You've trampled over humans. You're just awful.
I will create a Neo world. Ooh,
that's why his
Neo
name
means
yeah.
new. Ooh.
Neo says he sees everyone as bugs. And he's like, I'm going to start by obliterating you, the bug. Because he's just seeing everyone as a computer virus.
He should say he's going to debug the digital world. He never actually says it. He should have.
Zero starts attacking, but he does no damage. And Taichi says, look, this was just a greeting. And then Zero becomes very fast. And it's great. I really like when Zero's fast because everyone's always surprised.
He does a big fast.
Neo is giving Arcadimon commands, and Taichi's relying on Zero's speed. Arcadimon, turns out, can be damaged by direct attacks. Not by, special moves. He has to be, actually.
They theorize that. It's a weird situation where, they think it has to be direct attacks.
Yes.
It is not.
Yes. But it is a sort of, it is an idea.
Yeah, so they go, okay, well, you gotta punch him. You gotta punch him real good. Okay. Be so fast that you punch him. And then he does.
Yeah.
He goes really fast and he punches him. At which point, I think it's Neo goes, heh, and Arcadimon whips out a big spear.
Yeah, and Sigma is watching, and because he's unable to help, he's in despair, like what Neo wanted. And Sigma realizes direct attacks are actually bad because one broke Omegamon's sword. And then Sigma realizes, hey, did Taichi actually get the data that Ray had?
And then it cuts to Ray and she's on the ground, sleeping still, and she's got the data in her hand. And you can hear in the back of your mind as it zooms in, dun dun dun.
And that's what I really like about the manga, because yeah, you're right, it does sort of feel like that. It's like that dramatic thing that it just sort of, despite just being a drawing, it just sort of, I don't know, it's very well done.
Actually, I will say, this chapter, I guess, in particular, this volume?
This volume, yeah.
This volume in particular, I feel like the last one was it was slower, right? We were more bored by it. It was good, but it was...
Yeah.
So this one here, I really felt like if you turn this into an anime, it would convert pretty much 1-to-1 really well.
Yes.
There's in fact one scene which I'm sure would be way better as animated with sound, but we'll get there.
We'll get to that.
But it's interesting because they storyboard this out like it's a show, and less like it's a comic book.
Yeah, it's almost like they wanted to go on to make it a show, right?
Storyboard's already done.
At some point, it does sort of seem like... I mean, I've already said before, this is probably better than a lot of the Digimon parts that we got as anime.
It's better than all of it.
And that's sad, and it shouldn't be. We should like all the anime, but this is just really well written.
Hey, May, yes, you know how we were saying, oh man, it's really cool they had tactics at the beginning. It's too bad they went away because everyone got too powerful. We find out later in this volume they didn't. People are still using really clever tactics. It's so good.
No, that's what I love about v-tamer, is it's always very sort of tactic focused and tactic driven. It's not just who can throw the big punch.
God, v-tamer is great.
v-tamer, it's a good one. In chapter 47, Zero's being very fast and is able to dodge and stop all the Arcadimon's attacks. Taichi remembers hearing of an attack from Hideto, and Taichi is reminded from all the Digimon that Arcadimon defeated, and says, look, all these Digimon and the alias 3 are lending me the strength. And Sigma's looking really concerned while he's watching this.
And so he should. He thinks that Taichi doesn't have a chance, which he doesn't.
The fact that Mari and Sigma are watching really stressed me out when I was reading this. Like, it just sort of like, it stressed me out because they had information and they could help him more.
Oh my god, you're getting worked. Do you feel yourself getting worked right now? I know, but that's
good. That is how a piece of media is supposed to make you feel.
It is, that's true.
It is very distressing that they're not there.
Like, that could help. They're over there.
I feel like there's been moments in the anime of Digimon, any season, where I've meant to felt this way, of like this despair or this distress, but nothing has come close to how this manga, that doesn't have the music, because a lot of the time in Digimon, when there's an emotional scene,
it's literally all music.
They have really good music playing. Like Marukimon's death, that had some beautiful music playing. And Wizamon's death in Adventure, that had beautiful music playing. They always have really strong music. But the manga doesn't have the music to give you the feelings, so it actually has to give you the feelings without the music.
Digimon, but every time a distressing scene happens, Bolero plays faster.
Gosh, that would happen a lot. Anyway, Ray wakes up, and Gabo is very proud for protecting her, and is like, oh, Gabo, you did nothing. He's like, I found you, and I'm protecting you.
It's pretty much like I saved you, honestly.
Yeah.
Which, this is building up to something great, because Ray's immediately like, obviously, oh my god, I have to get this data to Tai.
Yeah.
Otherwise he'll die. He's there right now, we have to go literally right now. And Gabo, okay, I'm going to reel this back slightly. We've known Gabo for a long time now. He's been there since basically the beginning.
Yeah, definitely the beginning.
Would you be able to describe Gabo in like 2 words? Like even 2 different traits?
Smart, dumb.
What?
Because Gabo is very smart, but in some ways he's also very dumb. Like, he's a lot, like, I don't know, it seems that he's smarter than Taichi and Zero at some points, but at other points he's also dumber.
I've never thought of him as dumb, but he's definitely not as smart as he thinks he is.
Yes.
But
so arrogant.
I would have gone, very simply, with he's a coward.
Oh, yes.
He's a huge coward. Like, that's, Gabo's every interaction is, that's dangerous, we shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go, I don't want to go there, that's dangerous.
Yes.
So what's this scene? I'm going to, you know what? You've got something really important to do. I'm going to help you.
Yes.
And that's character development.
Yeah, he says, I'll go with you and I'll protect you. And it's not like, it's not in your face about it either. It doesn't say, oh, I used to be this person who was too weak, or Digimon in this case.
It's creeping up too, because it wasn't just a switch, because we know when he was left behind to look after Ray, he was expressing like are you sure you don't want me to go with? Like, maybe he would have been too scared if he was asked.
Yeah.
But he kind of wanted the opportunity. And now an opportunity to be a hero has arrived, and he's learned from Tai that it's okay to do that, and it's really interesting.
Yes.
As far as I'm aware, he goes on to literally do nothing else for the rest of this volume, but he gets this moment.
He's later on, he's one of the first people Digimon who's
true.
like, I will give them my power.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. Considering Gabo's kind of like being a little bit of a sass master.
That's fine. They're still friends.
Back to the fight. Zero breaks his arm after direct attack. It's not just broken, it's just like it starts disappearing.
Break his arm means like snap the bone. Not like a big chunk of it's gone.
I was trying to find a way to describe what happened. Yeah.
What is his arm dissolves? That's a word.
Yeah, it just dissolves. And then his wings are disappearing too. Which is basically like all the strategy that Taiji's put in is like, it involves his speed and his punches. Mm-hmm. And now he's lost an arm and his wings are disappearing.
Yeah, and then basically Arkadimon runs him down and like pretty much kills him. And then
Zero gets impaled.
Yeah, with a big spear through the chest.
And it is like, it's pretty rough.
Neo has a big speech about how, like, I have now defeated your Digimon and he will dissolve into ones and zeros and die. And now while you are there crying over your fallen Digimon, I'm going to go destroy the rest of the digital world, starting with Holy Angemon.
Yeah.
The timing of things doesn't really make sense here, but that's okay. It's really minor.
Yeah, no, I think I got the same point. So it's not right now, but it's how Neo leaves probably like maybe 10 minutes before.
And Hideto shows back up with Omnimon.
And Taichi's able to show up despite Hideto showing up and then getting there before Neo.
He carries him off to the Holy City, and then they put Zero into a thing.
So this is all in chapter 48, which we haven't actually started discussing yet.
Now that I think about it, they are pillaging like villages and stuff along the way. So maybe
they're also Neo is getting his army ready. So there are like his huge army.
Well, they're already ready.
Yeah, but there's more of them. So you could also just say he's getting his army ready. He's getting his army together. There's probably in that room that we saw with Kalismon and the Neo Devimon in.
Yeah, so he didn't go directly there. That's fine.
During this time, in chapter 48, Ray and Gabo can see Zero being impaled, and Akemon punches Zero. Taichi sends a command to Zero for him to get away, but Taichi's unable to send commands anymore, and his Digivice says, battle over.
I don't
So
really
this is his first loss.
Yeah, it is. It is technically his first.
He's
loss.
not 100% tamer anymore.
No, he's only 99.9%.
Yeah. Probably even, like, he's had so many battles, it's probably, like, still, like, 9999.
Yeah.
And, yeah, this is when Neo says, look, I'm going to delete Zero. And he's like, you are talentless, and Zero starts to get upset, but he's still super dying. And then he says, I'm going to go to the Holy Angel Castle, and I'm going to destroy them all, starting with Holy Angemon.
I also appreciate that you can understand Neo's character to the point where the fact that he doesn't just stomp Zero's head into like a powder makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
He says, I'm doing it this way so
To
that
hurt
he
you.
dies slowly because I hate you so much. I want you to be like the most upset you could possibly be.
Which is good. I'm glad they gave that reason, because previously in Digimon you've always said they didn't kill him. Why are they not killing them? Why they're not taking this opportunity?
But it's not just that.
Yeah.
It's not I've left your Digimon under this swinging pendulum and he'll die slowly, but you have an opportunity to save him. It's he's dying slowly, and I, the villain, am 100% convinced there's literally nothing possibly that could save him.
Yes.
Because until we find out later what does it, that's something that he couldn't possibly have imagined.
Yes.
So the villain is 100% convinced he did kill Zero. Zero is out of this game.
Yes.
So everything he does here makes perfect sense, even though it opens him up to damage later, and it's technically suboptimal. It makes perfect sense in the villain's mind, and that is so important. Because if I always think back to, because like the first time I really noticed
Is it
in Digimon.
Vandemon?
No, Vandemon was one thing, right? Because Vandemon's was stupid. But
Because
at
he
least
left a lot of the times when the kids were just there. And at the time I
to
thought that
me-
was fine. But now, as compared to this, it's not good.
it was Arukenimon and Mummymon who had literally defeated the kids, and they're all unconscious on the ground, and they go, let's get out of here.
Yes.
That's the one that gets me. Because at least Vandemon, you know what, fine. He's facing down... I say that because even though I ranted about it forever, when he was like facing down Matt and TK, and there was 8 Gabumon there, and he could have just killed them both. But you could say...
It wasn't his preference. Like, it wasn't what he
send,
cared about.
Send my minions in because that's what I'm doing here. Now, that's incredibly stupid.
Yes.
Because that's not what his goals are, and that puts no guarantees in place. Neo, on the other hand, has done his action is in line with his goal, and as far as he's aware, the guarantee is in place.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. And then he gets his other goal, which is make Tai suffer. So he gets everything this way. It makes perfect sense. It's
Yes.
just really important.
And it's well written that way too.
It's just that Digimon fails so often at this.
And I don't know why, like, what's with v-tamer and Atmon being able to be well written?
Because someone tried.
And
That's it.
with well written villains, it makes sense.
It's just it. Someone was trying.
Like, turns out, like, I don't think Leviathan was a necessarily complex villain,
No, Leviathan was incredibly not complex.
but I feel like because he wasn't so complex, it was enjoyable.
I mean, yeah, it was very straightforward. I mean, his plan wasn't straightforward, but his motive was.
Yeah.
That's like literally the most, like, I took to rule the world. But there was a philosophical basis to it, which you could kind of understand.
Yes.
Anyway, point is, he leaves, they go, and Zero is then in a healing tank
Oh, no,
again.
no, before that. So, in Chapter 49, Omegamon and Hideto show up,
Yeah,
and they carry Taichi and Zero away.
yes,
And Bergemon and Gigimon are also there, and they take the others.
yes.
And I really like, and I'll say it now, this volume brings back a lot of Digimon that
Like
we've seen
all of
before.
them.
And it's great because you actually care about these characters.
Yeah.
You care about Starmon and
No.
that sort of like semi-filler chapter that they had.
No, but even if you don't actually care about Starmon, you can understand what he represents when he shows up. So we get Zero into the healing tank, and he is put away, and they literally say, we don't know how to save him. We'll do research, but we don't know what to do.
Sorry, can I just say one more thing just before they get into the healing tank?
Yeah.
The scene where Omegamon shows up is so powerful because there's no dialogue
This happens a
for
few times.
several pages because it's just Taichi just standing there with no expression. And
Because-
you can see that Neo wanted him to suffer and Neo
It
wanted
is.
him to have this despair. And that's what he's feeling. There's just like, the characters are clearly communicating. Like you can see like they're standing around like they're communicating, but there's no speech bubbles and there's just movement.
Because what is there actually to say? And I think it's really interesting that when they do land, you don't focus on Tai, because who cares? Well, not who cares, but like he's not going to say anything. He's
Yeah.
busy. They talk to the other characters and they go, Tai's not leaving his side. He's not saying anything.
Yeah.
What do we do? We really don't know. Zero is dying. Like, we are trying, but he's just dying. We've never seen this before. And I think at this point, Sigma comes up and is like, look, there's like this attack. We tried to tell you.
Yeah.
But we couldn't. And it's Dot Matrix.
My favorite part, and it's like it's okay. It's not my favorite part because that's a lie. There's just so many things that could be considered my favorite part in this
I know
volume.
my favorite part is the friendship bit.
Yeah, mine too. And I look, I've mentioned how much I hate the power of friendship being used as like a fix.
It's because we're wrong, though. The problem, what we really mean is
We
when
hate
it's done
Doctor Who.
badly and lazily.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, there's a power of friendship all along.
But you know what the problem with Doctor Who is, right? Is because because each episode is its own story.
Yes.
So of course, when it gets used every episode, you start to really notice it, and you don't have enough time to build it up. This has built it up for 7 previous
Yes.
volumes.
And also, you could say it's similar to in The End of Frontier, where they just cried and the dead body was alive.
No, you can't,
But
because
this is good.
no, because that was in the real world, which doesn't have digital world mechanics to it. That was literally magic.
Yeah, and when something happens in the digital world, it's just like, I'm going to explode my energy that way.
Mate, what this one was the end of all Persona games,
Yes.
which is always great.
It's your social link.
It was. It's literally all his social links.
Anyway, so the part that I liked, and it's a pretty small thing, you're probably going to say it's dumb, but Tonosama Gekomon's there.
Yes.
And he's like, I knew we could never trust them. So much for 100% tamer. Humans are terrible. We should never have even trusted them. And Mari just like, she's ready to fight. She's rolling up her sleeves and Sigma's just like, no, Mari.
But then he's like, "Who's this girl?" And she's like, "She's one of Neo's Alias 3." He's like, "God damn it!"
And then Ray's Pella there.
Yeah. And Ray's like, "These are Pull and Pal, and they're cool. They rescued me." And he goes, "Well, who are you?" "Well, I'm Cyber Ray. I'm Neo's sister." Ah!
And it's a funny moment, like, humans are terrible. See how terrible they are. They brought all these bad
They
guys.
brought all of Neo's friends.
And he's like, but you can see Tonosama Gekomon's point.
Oh, you can,
kind
because
of.
especially because he was fighting them at the start as well. So he was always tenuous on them.
Yeah, especially like the Alias 3 have probably killed a bunch of Digimon.
Yeah, they have.
Like, even though they've like had their redemption arcs, and we find out that they're not actually
They're
awful
redeemed
people.
to us. They're not redeemed to him.
Yeah, to the Digimon.
And this has always been an annoying part in wrestling when characters are like, well, you're a good guy now, so all the good guys just forgive you for all the bad stuff you did, or you're a bad guy now, all the bad guys are your friends.
See, the way that Tonosama Gekomon's reacting to the humans in this reminds me of in Savers, but for some reason I feel like it's done better in v-tamer than it was in Savers.
What are you thinking of in Savers?
Okay, so whenever the humans go to like a village or something,
Yes.
and there's a Digimon that stands there and goes, how could you let the humans in here? There was a huge genocide. Humans are all evil. Maybe it's because they're saying that these humans have been related to this big bad guy, maybe?
Well, also, thinking about Tonosama Gekomon's position, he has never been in a position, except for Tai, that he actually liked any humans, which is equivalent to all the people in Eldoradimon who hate all humans except for
Masaru's
dad. Except imagine that Masaru's dad hugely let them down as well, which is what Tai's done by losing.
Yeah.
So,
But not on purpose, though.
no, but that disappointment is converting through because now there are no reliable humans, right? Before, it was, I hate all humans except for that obvious one we all adore. Whereas in this case, he literally doesn't like any of them, so it makes more sense that he would act this way.
No, that makes sense.
Especially because he didn't trust them to begin with, and Zero beat him up and like dropped a chandelier on his head.
This is just such a good manga.
It is. It's really strong.
It deserves at least a movie.
I'd like to see the whole.
But I don't think you could
needs
do
a
it in a
series.
movie. I don't think you could do it in a movie. I feel like there's too much stuff.
I think you could do it in
25 episodes.
I was gonna say like 20. I was gonna say 20ish. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to go 50 episodes because there's not enough stuff to do 50 episodes.
I think.
You could add in some
I
filler
think
and
you
be
could
cute.
do it in 12 with each sort of like arc, so being half like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Because like for example, the fight against the two perfects of the waterfall is kind of important, but also like in the sense that it shows cool stuff. But it shouldn't be a whole episode, right? And that's something that would make me really bored of regular Digimon like episodes. But if you compress that into like half the space, then it would just be a short little story that happens, and then it would be concluded. You would learn stuff, but you'd move on, and then you'd have another one, and which would be like the plot part, and you could go back and forth. And I think you could do it really well.
I feel like because it's a 9-volume series, I feel like it would be best done with 20 episodes.
Well, I mean, you could just do a chapter per episode, and it wouldn't be bad.
Well, not a chapter. I mean, do you mean volume?
No, I mean legitimately, you could do a chapter an episode. I don't think it's
because that's like 70 episodes.
Wait, that's 70.
There are like 70 chapters or
So
something.
wait, but there are.
Well, we're up to.
Oh no, you're right. That's like 9 times 8. Yeah. Sorry, I screwed that up.
50, yeah.
You would combine a bunch of them.
Because some chapters are very short and very straightforward, as you said, like the first few battles where we just learn, hey, Taichi's really good at strategy. Like, that could easily just be maybe like the first or second episode.
Yeah, there's a few that you can take out. Fair enough. So, where are we at now? So he's in danger, and then we find out like
Sigma is talking about the dot matrix.
yeah, and the dot matrix is basically an invisible attack that dissolves anything it touches. It turns any data just into ones and zeros, and it makes it go away. And they're all like, hold up. An invisible attack that you can't see coming that instantly dissolves anything it touches. That seems unfair. And they go, yes, it is. So how is Zero alive? Well, it must have been like a slow version to make him suffer. And you go, all right, I guess.
Because of course Neo would use that, because
If he has it, sure.
he would as we said, he wants Taichi to suffer.
Yeah, and that explains why all the ones and zeros are coming off Zero's body.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he explains the whole dot matrix thing, and they go, how do we fight that? And they're like, I don't know.
They basically said we have to find a way to stop it. We have to find the source.
We don't know how to do that.
Mostly they're just sitting around shrugging and they're saying it's there.
So we find out there's like a report that Arkadimon and Neo are like rampaging through all these villages.
Yeah,
and
his
I think
army's
at first
showing up.
Panjamon is like, okay, send out reinforcements, let's go.
Yeah.
And immediately Holiday was like, no, get everyone to retreat back here. There is no way that we can reinforce enough to make anything work, so we're going to come back here, we're going to fight here, and we're going to work out how to beat this dot matrix thing, because we currently don't know, but we'll come up with something.
And we have the research team,
Yep.
which is Mari and Sigma, because of course it would be.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is staying here to look after Zero and providing Taichi moral support.
Pretty much, because he needs it.
Because he's just standing there. And he's a pretty talkative character.
Usually, yeah.
But
You could call him hot-blooded.
He hasn't said a word
Yeah.
since Zero basically died.
And Digimon's there, and he's like, okay, look. Sorry, I can't explain this. And I think that's when he goes, oh, and that's when the chapter ends.
Yeah, he says, hang on, he says, I'm going to go look at my books.
No, he's like, oh, what's this? I gotta go study this, because he sees a thing, which is all the ones and zeros coming off him are fighting each other.
Yeah.
And he's like...
No, but that's in chapter 50.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
at the end of the last one, he goes, oh, and that's when it ends, because
Yeah.
he's like surprised, I think.
Yeah, and then it immediately goes to chapter 50 where he notices the ones and zeros are fighting each other.
And he's like, what does that mean? It seems like Zero is trying to not die. Awesome. Great.
Gonna go read a book now.
Now I have to go find out. Is it something about him being like an ancient Digimon? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe.
See, they're allowed to explain a lot by just saying it's because he's an ancient Digimon.
He's a weird type of Digimon we haven't seen before, or in a long time. Okay.
But for some reason, whenever they use that as an excuse, I'm just like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, because the people don't know. It's like, he's a mysterious thing.
It is such an easy thing as well to say it's because he's an ancient Digimon.
Yeah.
That's why. And then we say, well, ancient Digimon, they have the override thing. And then we can just say, well, this one's different because he's with a partner.
So this has to do with
It's great.
strategic silence, which I think is really interesting. Because think about it this way, right? When Digimon tells you too much about something and it sets rules, it becomes incredibly obvious when they start breaking it. Like the 60 seconds in Atmon, when they introduce that, you're like, okay, they've told you something. Hold on, I started to notice they're not sticking to it. Whereas if they don't tell you something, when they stretch it, you can kind of believe it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think now. Okay, as an example, although it's not a very good one, when you get Imperial Dramon and he changes to like fighter mode, and you go, okay, that's weird. Then he changes to Paladin mode. You go, well, he's had a mode switch before, so I guess. They didn't say it was one or the other. They didn't tell you these are the rules, so you... Okay, I accept there is another mode. Fine.
Yeah.
And it could have been that. I mean, there are probably better examples, but I'm tired.
Me too. They both have Vmon in them.
I'd probably say more like they literally never explained the limitations of the card slashes, so they could have done anything with them and you would have accepted that, oh, that's a card, okay.
I would have liked them to explain card slashes more in Tamers though.
No.
But in v-tamer, do we have any like questions so far about things that like don't make 100% sense?
Something that doesn't make sense. What we're talking about right now is when they don't explain them. They don't go out of their way to explain something, so that when they tell you something new about it later, you go, okay.
No, but what I'm saying is I don't have any questions about v-tamer. I'm like, well, how does this work? Because I'm just like,
It's had plenty of time.
Yeah, it explains everything and it says, well, if we don't have any questions, it's because he's an ancient Digimon. I'm like, well, okay.
Whereas on the other hand, because we understand how levels work with Digimon, you know, baby, adult, ultimate, whatever, Armor Evolutions made that really weird because it was a new thing added into the system we already had hard, fast rules for. And we still don't know how strong those guys are.
And also the spirits.
And and Spirit Evolution, like, how strong are they?
And basically, fans have hypothesized how strong they are, and everyone sort of has their own little belief. And I have my beliefs, but it's still nothing that's really concrete, I don't think.
Yeah, the beast and human spirit thing is really bothering me. At least still does.
Yeah, like, is it? I see, because I always thought it was adult and perfect.
I thought so too, but then like they switch back and forth, and you go, why wouldn't you literally always be the beast?
Yeah, but
And
apparently there are better circumstances.
More importantly, if the beast one is better, why did the beast not win the war?
Yes, because they're meant to be equal. I don't know. So then we have the other Digimon, including...
Totally forgot. Where I thought Frontier was going was that because they were introducing fusions and stuff. So because they introduced the idea of fusion and they introduced the idea of beast and human, I thought that the end result would be to make the ancient Digimon, you just combine the beast and human version of the same thing to show that conflict was meaningless and that they're better off working together. And that would be the whole theme of the entire show.
Yeah,
and the fact that they didn't do that is confusing.
Because they dropped the whole beast and human thing after a while.
Also, I feel like that should have been in my rewrite of Frontier. I'm sure I was meant to put it in.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
Okay, so they're all standing around, and because Digimon says, well, he's running out of energy. And Garbo says, then I will give him some of my energy. So he starts, like, he extends his arms and he gives him the energy.
Sure.
And then Agumon's like, me too. And then all the other Digimon gradually just, like, start to give them this energy.
We love Zero, we go. And then, like, all the Digimon you remember from other stuff start showing up. The star of which, the one that's really obvious is Starmon shows up. And you go, Starmon hated Zero. Like, I know they sort of came to a respect at the end. But, like, you can see that Zero made all these friends along the way. And now they all care about him.
Also, Gon's there.
Yeah.
The Gomon who wasn't a couple.
Yeah, and because he's involved. And which is really cute. And like, I adore that all the guys you met along the way, they evolved because time passed.
Yeah, the little Agumon, like, oh, remember us? We're the Agumon with the punching gloves.
He's the Pangemon now, isn't he? No, that was Leomon.
No. The Centaurmon and the Meramon. But the thing is, because it has to do with the V-Pet, all three of them evolved into different adults. Because the V-Pet has doesn't have any one singular line for a Digimon. It branches off. And so, of course, they evolve differently. And that's fine. That's great. I wish they showed that in the anime ever, basically.
It doesn't really bother me, that one, honestly, because it's not my thing, and I don't think it represents visually very well, but it's fine.
See, it's fun to me because that was like my introduction to Digimon.
Because I prefer the Pokemon like one-to-one line where you I prefer I prefer them when they're clearly related. Honestly, they don't have to be a line, but I want them to branch out in ways that make sense. Why is the little lizard turned into a horseman? But if the little lizard turned into either a Greymon or an Edgemon, I'd go, well, at least I get that.
Or Tyrannomon.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I understand how you got this way. That's fine. But I need it to be obvious, I guess.
Well, Agumon also evolves into Devimon.
Yeah, so this bit here is really good, and they're all giving the energy. And I think it cuts back and forth between this and the fight.
Yes, so we have a bunch of evolutions.
Because I remember this, because I'm remembering the fight as one long thing, and I'm remembering this scene here where they give the energy up until the resolution of it as one long thing.
The fight's good, but the fight isn't my highlight.
The fight's really, really one bit of the fight's really good.
See, I just like how we got evolutions because for Digimon that we haven't actually seen elsewhere, might I add, like Dominionmon and Regularmon have not been shown anywhere else.
No,
I mean,
Regularmon has not shown up.
Regularmon has not been in anything. He's only in the v-tamer. I think it's the same with Dominionmon, but
we had Normalmon, but not Regularmon.
Ah, funny.
Averagemon.
Regularmon chips.
Original Flavormon.
So just a bit before Taichi's revealed that all these old friends are like helping out, he's feeling all useless and he's walked off. And Ray mentions, look, you haven't lost because Neo used to be such a huge presence in my life. He wanted to be a doctor. He was kind-hearted. He had a huge heart. But now I think of you more highly than I do of Neo.
And you're like, oh, burn! Oh.
Because you're better than him because you brought all these people together. And she's like, oh, come look at this. And
Taichi, cheer up! You're about to get laid.
We see all his friends, and it's such a nice moment.
And he's like, what is everyone doing?
And then Taichi's like, I will look up Arcadimon's data.
Yeah, and he's got to do the research because now he believes.
And then in chapter 51, we have Zero remembering being hatched, and we have like this cute little shot of Taichi holding the V-Pet.
Like, yeah, my thing hatched, yeah!
This is what I love about v-tamer, because it's not just about the V-Pet. but they do reference it, sort of like, hey, he hatched out of a V-pet. It's a V-pet, remember?
Yeah, so like that's the story is not based around the weird gimmick, but the weird gimmick is sewn into the story well enough that you get to sort of have both.
And you don't need to know about the V-pets.
So then he sees all this light, and then he sees Taichi, and my favorite thing is he sits up, and he does the same thing he always does. Good morning.
Yeah, he's a big dumb puppy, and that's what I love about Zero. Like, he's just a big dog.
He does the thing that Gabbo said he does, right? And then he's gonna go, good morning, and he does it. And now this is my favorite bit. This is my Aries number 10 in the Amon ranking. I'm not gonna say that I cried like you do all the time, but I'm gonna say I felt it in the eyes. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, well, I felt it.
And then, so this is the only bit I think would be even better as an anime, where like you have the blinking or whatever, and then you have the animation of him getting up and going good morning, and then you have this big explosion of cheering from everyone around him, and they're all so happy because he's okay.
Yeah, that was so nice. Like, I don't know, I just love Zero so much, and yeah, he's just basically like a big dog.
Yeah, he's a good.
He's just like, oh, good morning, and I love that about him, and I'm pretty sure it happened last time he was in like a healing pod, but it was less serious.
So we'll cut back to the fight, where basically the three big Digimon are going to fight Arcadimon, and Neo thinks they're all really stupid for trying.
Yeah.
And like the first thing that happens is Megamon dashes right up to Arcadimon.
Yes.
And puts his Greymon cannon out, sorry, his Garurumon cannon out, and blasts him full force. And it's something that like they have a little exchange with Hideto, and he goes, "Give me an order," and Hideto's like, "I don't know, just give me an order, I trust you." So he gives him this order even though it's kind of suicidal, and everyone immediately sees that seems like a stupid thing to do. He's way too close. The blast will catch him too. Shoots him, there's a big explosion, and you see Arcadimon, who appears partially scorched, but otherwise fine.
Yeah.
And then there's Omegamon, who's like blown up. It's like, oh god, that hurts. And the fight will proceed for a little while with like Regularmon coming in and whatever. But very soon after this, they go, "We figured out how dot matrix works." And they go, "What?" Hideto has figured it out because that blast, if that blast is really close, then the only place that Omegamon will be able to defend with dot matrix is the place where dot matrix comes out of. And when he was hit, he was scorched in a big circle around his torso, which means that it must, in the front of him, which means that dot matrix must come out of his torso in the center.
Yeah. And
it must come out in a circle up at least that wide, which means he is safe to attack from the back.
Yes.
And that's the strategy that they employ. And I think that's really interesting.
And I like that.
But what's even better is that the bad guy is one step ahead of them because he knew they'd figure it out. So they go behind him and he gives the order to Arcadimon, "Attack behind you. Just stab behind you." He doesn't even have to look because he says, "It's all according to my calculations. I've seen this all in advance. I'm the best at this," right?
Yes.
So they're having this whole fight, and he keeps saying, "Look, this is my scenario. This is what I've put together. There's nothing you can do to surprise me here. You might know what's going on now, but Arcadimon's too strong, and I'm way too far ahead of you." And he's about to kill Omegamon, and I think Regularmon shoots in a big attack that knocks him off course, so he just dissolves Omegamon's leg. Then he stabs Regularmon, I think, a bunch of times through the chest.
I think Dominiumon might be also stabbed as well.
Yeah, maybe it's that. They all kind of start looking the same. At which point, a V-breath arrow shoots out of the castle.
Yeah.
And the best thing is Neo goes, "What? The blue attack? No! No!"
And Taiji's like, "Well, you didn't take this into calculations." And he's like, "I'm 100% ready."
That's so cool. Like, you didn't take this, and he didn't.
This would be so good as part of an anime.
Like,
this scene.
He legitimately didn't take it into account. It's so cool.
And we know this because he said, well, he's dead, and that's why he left. He left because he was like, well, you're dead.
Yeah.
And Taichi's going to suffer? That's great. I'm having a great day.
And so they get into they do a fight.
No, they don't.
No?
It ends.
Is that the end? No, that's the end.
It's 100% ready.
Yeah, that's the end.
Unless you started reading ahead again because you love it so much.
No, I didn't. I went to the Omake.
Well, yes, the Omake is next. So it's chapter 51.5. First of all, we get Omake 1, which is just basic information about the genome Digimon, like the Digimon that Neo designed.
I honestly didn't even read this pic because I was like, oh, it's just useless information.
I thought it was interesting. So it's Lycamon, Helmon, and Panimon, yes.
Paninimon.
And no, Panini is a food.
Paninimon.
No, it's just Panimon. And they were based from Greek mythology.
They said there was no Dodemon. I proved them wrong.
And they were going to originally have them in a fight against Holy Angemon and Leo.
was like a
and
3v3.
Omegamon. Yeah, it was a 3v3, but they didn't have time and they were cut out due to bad circumstances.
Yeah.
But you can still see them in the background in chapters 48 and 49.
What was the name of that plotmon?
Which one?
The one that they said in the last Omake. Like, we had this plotmon we really loved, but we couldn't find the time to write
that
about
one,
him.
yeah.
Like Plotty or something.
Plotty, yeah. And then we get a Make 2 with Jay's favourite character.
So they introduce Ryou, and I'm like, why? And then the thing begins with what I can only describe as a plot straight out of pornography.
The
Like, so
sneeze?
it's a plot strength out of pornography. Like, it's so, let's just get into the story. It doesn't even matter how the situation gets set up. Who cares?
0 sneezes.
0 sneezes, and it causes a space-time portal.
Because they've come up with... Look, this is like, what, the third time they've come up with a crossover?
But the other 2 times, you go, I understand that within the rules of the world. This one's like, whatever. He sneezed and there was a portal. Get over it. We're moving on.
Well, Ryou jumps between worlds anyway, so whatever.
I would have liked it if they said at the end, like, I can't believe you sneezed and this portal came out. And Ryou's like, what? No, I made that portal. Like, they just would have explained it and it was just timing.
See, I like they didn't explain it because it's still like, okay, Zero has a power where he can just make
No,
a
because
portal.
you get to have the joke at the beginning and then at the end it changes and then it becomes good writing. Like, you get to have both.
I think it's funny though.
So Ryou shows up.
With Monodramon.
Also, by the way, it's meant to be really hot, but it's actually super cold. Yeah, so that's just a thing they mention. Ryou shows up and he says, "Hi, I'm like an interdimensional time traveler."
No, before he says that, he's like, "You're Taichi," and then Taichi's like, "I've never met you," and he's like, "Oh, right. You must be an alternate
No, he
dimension."
says
Taichi.
you look different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like you're an alternate dimension Taichi, and like Tai has this little gag thing where he like looks like he's been punched in the face and he flies off into the background because he's taken so much surprise.
Because Ryou has met Taichi in the games.
And it's good they reference that. It's almost like they've actually paid attention to what's in the games, unlike those other writers we can talk about.
How confused would you be if you only knew of Ryou because of Tamers and you read this though?
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense.
You'd be like, how's he met Taichi? Why is he not talking about Ruki? Why is he a time traveler? Who's Millenniummon?
Actually, isn't Millenniummon only mentioned like... No, he's not mentioned once. You only just told me he was inside Cyberdramon.
Yes.
So...
Well, you know that Cyberdramon is hunting for the true bad guy.
Who's
but
never ever mentioned
it's actually
again.
inside Cyberdramon.
So they sort of talk about what they're doing and Tai says, "I'm going to go fight Demon," which makes me think: is this a different point in the canon, or does he actually just never find out that Demon's not dead? And is there going to be a really funny bit in like the last chapter of the last volume where he goes, "Let's go fight Demon"? They go, "Demon's dead, dude." And he goes, "What?
Great, I beat him! Another victory!"
100%. Sorry, 99.999%. So he goes, I'm trying to fight Demon. And he goes, well, I'm trying to fight Millenniummon. I've already beaten him 3 times. Because he's been in 3 games. The writers know about Ryou's history.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to go beat him and he'll definitely die this time.
And Taichi's like, I've been going after the final boss for
3 years?
So it's because that's how long v-tamer had been running at this
No,
point.
I get that. But he's been in the digital web for 3 years.
Presumably time doesn't move, right?
Well, the question is, has he aged up at all?
He has not.
No, so I guess not.
Like, he doesn't look 13.
3 digital years.
Like, there's a huge difference between a 10-year-old boy and a 13-year-old boy.
I guess so.
Or a 11 and 14.
13-year-olds look like Masaru.
No, 14-year-olds look like
Close.
Masaru, yeah.
So, also, Tai would have been 11, wouldn't he? At the start?
Yeah, that's why I corrected himself. He's 11, yeah. So he'd be 14.
So they have these conversations, then all of a sudden, Fikemon shows up, which is, I mean, obviously this is way before Try, and before we did eventually confirm that was Goemon's ultimate, but
Yeah.
it's weird seeing him.
Well, they always had his design.
I know, but it's weird. And so he's like, I'm here now. And they go, are you the reason this place is cold? And he goes, yes, now I will kill you. At which point, this really great gag starts and never ends, and it's the entire rest of the chapter, where basically Ryou goes, I'm gonna go fight him, and Tai punches him in the back of the head and says, no, I will fight him and protect you.
Yeah, Taichi's like, hey, you have to leave, I'll protect you.
Yeah.
And then Ryou says, no, I'll protect you.
And they start having a big hot-blooded fight. And before this Gabo says, Vikemon, I have heard he has some kind of weakness, but I don't know what it is. We have to find out. Like, it'll be part of the strategy for the fight. And so they begin this fight back and forth, and they say stuff like, it's the best. You've been fighting Demon for 3 years and you still haven't gotten him? And Ty's like, oh! And it says the wrong thing to say.
Yeah.
Well, you've killed Millenniummon 3 times and you think it'll stick the 4th time? Oh!
Yeah.
And they're going back and forth, and this big fire starts coming up around them. and Vikemon's like getting damaged in the background.
Yeah.
Because they're so hot-blooded that this Cole's Digimon is getting damaged.
See, this like makes like no actual sense.
No, it makes no
but
sense
it's
at all,
So
but it's
funny, and that's like you can just say it's an omake, and
is.
omakes don't make sense, and they're not canonical, which is sad.
But also, like, I mean, this is a thing where if the digital world was actually slightly weirder, it would be fine. Because this is this is almost a JoJo thing. Like, almost. Most JoJo fights do end in punching, but, like, it's a bit like that.
Well, this ended in a punch, just not the bad guy.
So they're going back and forth. I'm sure they say more hilarious stuff. So then Vikemon's like, okay, well, that's fine. I'm going to freeze your Digimon. So he freezes Monodramon and he freezes Zero. At which point, oh my god.
Taichi jumps up on him and says, I'll warm you up.
Ryo punches the ice off. And Gabriel's like, you're going to hurt your hands. And he does anyway. His hands are all bloody, but he saves Monodramon.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, and the fire's all around him. And Tai
strips off his
clothes and melts the ice off Zero by hugging him with his body heat. And Vikemon's like, no, I've been damaged even more now.
I love this so much.
And finally, yeah, Tai and Ryo just punch each other really hard so that to try and win the argument. And that defeats Vikemon because of the damage. At which point, Gabbo goes, oh, you know what? I guess you guys can keep... Like, it doesn't matter that you guys fought. The bad guy got defeated anyway. And they turn around, they go, wait, what? Who's that?
The best part was that I thought they was like, they're just going to say, oh, it was my plan all along.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is my tactic. No, they forgot he was there.
Yeah, which is... I think that's better, because that whole sort of like... Hey, it was my plan to pretend fight the whole time. Mwahaha.
It's very Vince Russo.
And then it turns out, no, they just were so distracted with how hot-blooded they are.
It's just their personalities. They're just like this.
It's so great. And this Ryou is different from just Tamer's Ryou, right?
Yes.
Like, in the games, this was more or less his personality.
Also, his design is different.
He's wearing the One Games clothes.
Yeah, I mean, just like everything. Honestly, if this guy had a different name, I couldn't possibly have drawn any connections. I wouldn't have been like, that guy's kind of like that Ryou character. I would have seen Monodramon. No, I would have heard about Millenniumon and I would have picked it up, I guess. But
yeah.
Like, if you hadn't, if I didn't have all the background knowledge of the games, I think there's literally no way you'd be like this character and if you read this whole thing, and that character from Tamers, having watched the whole thing, are even related, even vaguely.
I would have liked him to mention Ken.
I mean, there's no context to mention Ken.
I know, but he left behind his best friend.
There's just no context for it.
It was a great little omake, and the omakes in v-tamer are really good.
Except for that poop one.
Oh, yeah. But the crossover omakes.
Yeah, like, especially how much they hate Davis.
Have you noticed that they improve on each character that they've shown in the omakes?
I don't know if Ryou has actually been improved here, because...
This is actual Ryou.
Because he's actual Ryou. Maybe in the game he's awesome. I don't know.
Yes.
So maybe here they haven't actually improved on him.
I've heard the games aren't amazing games, but Ryou is actually a decent character.
They have definitely improved on some of them. I'm upset, though, because they skipped Tamers. I guess this is the Tamers crossover, but it's not, because it's the video games, and they say that at the beginning.
And also, that the Frontier crossover happened first.
I would have preferred if we got a crossover at some point with Takado.
He'd just want to hug Zero. He'd be like, oh my god,
you also have a dinosaur.
Also, Taichi and Takado would have something in common, and that's they're both fans of Digimon as a franchise.
Yeah. And I think that would have been really cool, and because that's a dynamic that would have been really fun to see. Because if you would ask me who I want to see, Ryou is not on that list. Davis is kind of on that list. I wouldn't have said, Christ, what's his name?
Takuya?
I wouldn't have said Takuya. I'm happy with how it turned out, but I would never have picked it. But Takado is someone I would love to see, especially written with these writers.
Yeah. See, for some reason, I want to see Ruki as well.
Mate, it's just because she's your favorite. Like, don't pretend it would be good.
Okay.
You just like her.
Okay. Haru meeting Taichi, though.
Yes.
Haru meeting. I love
obviously.
Haru.
I would have liked Haru and Agumon meeting Tai and Agumon, and it being really confusing.
That'd be cute. I just really love v-tamer.
And then Ryou goes home. That's pretty much it.
And Taichi thinks he was hot.
Yeah, I mean, I know what he means, but it's not what he says. Man, that Ryou sure was hot.
What were your thoughts about this volume?
It was really good.
It was.
It had a great little story arc. It had great character developments. It had a couple of really nice moments. It didn't drown you in words when it could have just shown you all the stuff, and it did. It just showed you stuff.
Well, as I said, there was that scene that had no words at all.
Yeah, there were a few like that. And it was really, or there were a few where they really minimized the amount of words that were being said.
I mean, the scene I'm talking about if it was an animation, I feel like they would also have to just do it with white noise.
Yeah.
I feel like it is best if it's sort of like this dissociating experience that Taichi, like Taichi's dissociating, like he's disconnected, and there are things that are happening, and he can kind of notice that they're happening, but there's no sound.
You know what you could do it as? You do it with that white noise, and then instead of using this as a storyboard, you do it all first person.
Yeah, like what he's saying, yeah.
Like just static thing and stuff's moving around, but like flash of him looking at Zero, flash of like I don't know what's it, Hideto like leaning in to look at him and like ask if it's okay.
Yeah.
And then like flash of like now you're in the air.
Yeah.
It could have been cool. I don't know.
But that'd be like,
I'm not an animator.
That'd be heartbreaking to see.
Good, perfect. Media doing its job.
And I found that part was so easily written, but so heartbreaking. There was just it was emptiness.
Yeah, man, it's almost like when writing is good, it's easy to
like it's like
with
when I was however old I was when I read Twilight. In New Moon, where it's just like those 20 blank pages of when she's broken up.
It's a really clever bit.
I feel like that. I'm not sure if that actually was clever, but I thought that was really
No, it is.
clever.
It's a legitimately very clever bit. It's like blank page, name of a month.
Yeah, which is just the months, yeah. And just to show time passing and how nothing is happening. There's just nothing.
The problem is when you look back on it, the reason she is sad is really dumb. But like it's really also. But that said, I remember I did see the movie of that, and that scene is really done well in the movie as well.
I can't remember.
Basically, she's sitting in a chair, and the camera spins around her.
Oh yeah,
and you keep seeing outside the window when the seasons change.
No, you're right. That was not terribly done.
No, it's a really good bit.
That's probably like the only part in Twilight that I would actually consider isn't terribly written. I loved Twilight though when I was young.
So did I. I'm not gonna lie, I really liked it when I was younger. I didn't have taste, and I enjoyed the vampires as a power fantasy. Just sue me, whatever.
Yeah, but no, and that scene just reminds me of that. With the silence sort of just moving around, and the way you described it, how they would do it in the animation, it does remind me of that. But I feel like, I don't know, it's a good way of showing us how sad Taichi is. Have we ever seen like anything that emotional coming from any character? I guess we could say, I'm not going to spoil Atmon, but something sad happens to Haru. And I feel like compared to what happens in v-tamer, is that scene in Atmon isn't as good. Like, you know the scene I'm talking about, right, Jay?
I do, yeah.
And I feel like you can kind of see what he's feeling, but I feel like, I don't know, it's just not...
Well,
it's better done through his perspective and what he is experiencing and what he is feeling and what he is seeing.
The problem is that scene doesn't just call for emptiness, right? It calls for other emotions,
yeah.
which I still don't think that the show conveyed well, and that the character of Haru should probably have felt but didn't, because what it was expressing was sadness and like grief. But there were... It is like a wide range of emotions that should have come out of it, but they didn't. I don't know.
Atmon's still great, though.
It is.
Like, we're not saying, oh, Atmon's bad.
I just don't think Haru's reaction to that particular thing was what I wanted it to be.
But I felt this scene was probably one of the best reactions that we've ever had a chosen child display.
Top 10 anime reactions.
To do with grief, right?
Yes. Top 10 anime sad boys.
I mean, Jury's reaction in Tamers was quite good, I think.
I mean, it was well and truly an overreaction, given that she'd been with that dude for like 2 days.
Yeah, and this one is like...
He'd been with him for 3 years.
No, but this is 3 years in the digital world. We don't know how long they've been partners with him as a Digimon.
Well, you know how Digivices work, so it's probably 3 years and 2 weeks.
Yeah, probably. But the thing is, I know, it just feels a lot. Maybe it's because we've been covering it for 8 months now.
Sorry, I really enjoy that. It just feels a lot.
It feels very. It feels very.
Dude, it's a lot very.
It's a lot very. Like, I literally can't even. It is just very. Everything happens so much. Also, I want to talk about the power of friendship just for a second.
Yes.
I just... v-tamer always does the power of friendship in quite a not bad way.
Because that's what the whole series is about. The whole series is about making bonds with your friends, and then that support network allowing you to win. For example, if Tai had never made friends with Sigma, he would never have found out about Dot Matrix, and he would never been able to win. If he hadn't made friends with Ray, then she wouldn't have performed her functions either. Everyone has performed a role because of the active attempts to make friends with them.
Except for Mari, unfortunately. She was going to fight Otono-sama Gekomon, but she was stopped.
That's nothing to do with it. Like, that's true. And her own thing, but she has developed respect for him as well. And it's another element of it. Whereas Neo, his entire story arc is the opposite of that. He had friends, So think about it this way. Tai had no friends to begin with. He had to work for every single one he got, and every time he does, he gets stronger.
Yes.
Neo started with a whole friend network, all of which were very powerful, but when he didn't respect or care about them, he slowly loses them, thinking that he's stronger for it, but eventually it will be his downfall. It's what the whole story is about.
Yes.
So it makes sense every time the power of friendship gets used, because that's what the story's about.
And I think Atmon was also very power of friendship, right? I mean, your partner was called your buddy.
Yes.
It was probably more power of friendship, and because of that, they actually did the power of friendship quite well in the climax, right?
I think so. But for example, the power of friendship being what's the solution in the end of Frontier is stupid, because Frontier is not about friendship. Frontier is about exploration.
Yes.
Or partially about exploration. It's also mostly about like what you consider to be home and defending that home. But you could say it's either one of those things.
And also not being liked.
Sort of. I would say it's primarily about the idea of where your home is and where you belong. And I think that I don't know how you would weave that into the resurrection of Koichi, but that would be how you have to do it, because then you would have said, I understand that, right? If they said to themselves, right, okay, think about it this way, rather than them being teleported back to the real world immediately, they said to themselves, well, we understand that time works differently in the digital world, and we think Koichi's dying right now. We need to spend the rest of this time right now looking for a way to help him out before we go back to the real world. And they explore the whole digital world, and they find magic object. Who knows and who cares? Right. Magic object. And then they bring that back. And you kind of have a Narnia thing where they've been like living for years, but they've struggled to get this thing. And they've come back and they did it that way.
Right.
Right? Maybe you could argue that would be more interesting. Because
look, I said the Frontier would have ended well if it was like a Narnia situation.
I mean, that's kind of what it was,
Yeah.
except then they ran into a hospital.
No, if they just stayed in the digital world and helped out.
That's not what Narnia is. In Narnia, they leave at the end.
Yeah, but they leave at the end after like 20 years.
Yeah, also they're old people.
Yeah.
Which I guess they would not have stopped being old people because the digital world doesn't work that way.
So yeah, just back to v-tamer. I love how all these friends that we've seen in previous volumes, even just for a second, they're there. They're all there.
Worth it.
And we remember them. And we love them, and they're there because they're like, Taichi, you helped me. Zero helped me. We have to do this to help you, and it's really nice. I don't know. I think this volume might have been the best.
I'm not sure it was the best, but it was very good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's not very good, because it was.
So what was your favourite scene?
My favourite scene is the scene where Zero gets up and says good morning, and then everyone freaks out. That
is a nice scene, and I love the whole, they give their energy, and Taichi walks in and he realises how important Zero and himself are to everyone.
That's also nice.
Yeah, and that is nice, but I still really like that, because it spoke to me, that it was an emotional scene of the silence. It's just silence.
To me, it's not Tai realising it, it's me realising it. Like, I enjoyed seeing all the individual Digimon make the choice and they go, we care about these guys.
Yes.
And it's half to do with we like Zero, and it's half to do with we believe in Taichi and he needs Zero. It's all really good. Anyway.
But also, we've been on this journey along with Taichi.
Yes, we have.
Join us next month for the final volume of v-tamer.
I mean, it'll be nice to see a conclusion to the story, but it will be a bit sad that it'll be over. And then we'll be stuck with things that are almost certainly worse.
Yes.
There it is! We finished Atmon, we're about to finish v-tamer. It is literally all downhill from here.
Well, I haven't read it yet, but the Cross Wars manga is apparently a lot better than the Cross Wars anime.
Get out of my face.
So we have that to look forward to, but we're doing...
But isn't the Cross Wars manga like a retelling of the anime?
I think so. I think that they start off the same.
Oh, we have to watch that twice. So basically 3 times. I'm gonna die.
And it goes in a different direction pretty quickly. There are 4 volumes of the Cross Wars manga.
I'm sorry, it doesn't sound like you're killing me right now, but you're meant to.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking.
I'm sorry. Gomenda, sorry. But, so after v-tamer, we'll be doing Next. So Next is next.
I'm glad that Next is next. It's important to me.
And I feel like Next is good. I just like v-tamer is really good, and that's... I wish there were more good things in Digimon.
I agree, because Digimon is quite bad, and I have to watch it.
And it's sad. It is sad that I can say Atmon and v-tamer are both good, and Tamers is okay.
So that's sad?
No, it's sad that it's not just like, oh, I can't choose my favourite because they're all amazing.
Yeah, that's how I feel about everything.
Yeah, I want to be able to say... I can't choose my favourite. But it's so easy when it comes to Digimon. It's like, well, Atmon's really good. V-Tamer's probably the best. And Tamers is, out of all the old stuff, all the old anime, it's good.
Sure.
And Savers is good. And Try was good.
Until it retroactively all became terrible.
But, I mean, there's still got one part left. But the point is, I would say V-Tamer is probably the best. I don't remember how it ends, but I feel like it ends well.
Well, honestly, even Atmon, I was like, you know what, this might end badly. But that had to do with, like, mysteries and et cetera, et cetera. Because this has no mysteries in it, like, at all, right? Like, V-Tamer is not a series about that. I would be surprised if it was anything other than a great ending. Like, I would be shocked, given the quality of it being so consistent, that it would be anything but great.
Yes, and that's good. And that is the way you should be looking towards at the end of a series.
Hope so.
See, the way I was going towards the end of the Atmon series was I was scared it was going to be bad.
Yeah, me too.
And that's not how you should come into a finale.
I mean, it didn't answer the question we wanted.
It ended well. Like, I'm not going to say it ended badly. It's just like I was worried it was going to end really badly and ruin the whole season. But anyway, in any case, we'll be covering Volume 9 next month, so look forward to that. You can find the link in the description, and you can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can also comment us on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a Scrub thread on With the Will and a Red thread in the Digimon subreddit, and we would appreciate if you would review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and any other podcast listening app that you use. Ratings really do assist people finding the podcast, and we'd appreciate that. We also have a website. You can vote in our weekly polls, check out our release schedule, and check out our blog posts. You can also donate to our Patreon, which is in the description on our website and basically everywhere, because we flog it quite a bit. And you can do that from as little as $1 a month. And that gets you access to a listener Slack chat group, but they're at higher levels with more rewards such as notes, early episodes, and more. And
thank you to our Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who has a podcast called The Moncast with Stevie, who is also Stevie Padmon on Tumblr and is currently taking commissions there, Wu Qinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/WuQinglong, Metal Mimemon, Joe, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the #1 on YouTube, Chakmon, Hiro Lado, who is at Hiro Lado on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who is Frost Magic on Archive of Our Own, Stephen Reeds, who is at WildLink64 on Twitter, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Chisai, who is you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Kyle, the Lady Bugman, whose anime blog you can read at baguburagu.wordpress.com, Tom, Glitchcoat, Azrael McCool, Gene Hackmon, Matthew, Anthony, who is at AntoClassic on Twitter, Lizmet, who is Likeman on Tumblr, Sithobi, Ellie-Vorg, who is Ellie-Vorg on Tumblr, Sporky McForkenspoon, who hosts a Digimon podcast called Going
Digital.
Going
Digital. A Takaro podcast.
Takaro. Megan, Kyliak, Neobu, Jams, The Time Optimist, Silverhead Freak 25, Harvey, and Alex.
You can also make a one-off donation on our PayPal, which we found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Airdramon. Make sure to let us know for the podcast. See you guys next time. Bye.